It's Tuesday, November 3rd, and today's episode is sponsored by Visibly Media, helping businesses communicate strategically both in print and online. Hi, I'm Deborah Gardner, host to the #1 hospitality show now. Not bad for our 9th episode to date, right? Well, yet the ultimate credit actually goes to you, our hospitality professionals that are watching and providing the experiences. See, you are the one that makes things happen for the leisure industry, the travelers, the business travelers, and even including the meetings and events industry. And each week here on HTL, we invite the most relevant, the incredible people that work in the industry like you and I to share their expertise, their perspectives, stories, and lessons. And we discovered someone to talk with today that really makes a difference to those that want to learn and grow in the industry. And that one actually loves to say, "You got this." And I'm talking about the founder and the CEO of Meetings Together, Tanya Rook. So stay with us. Hi, Tanya. Welcome to the show.
Hi, Deborah. Thank you so much. It's so funny that you said that about "you got this," because I'm sweating. I'm like, oh my gosh, my nerves. I'm trying to do tapping techniques. Oh my gosh. And then you said "you got this." I'm like, you know what? You're right. I got this. You have to take your own advice sometimes. It's one of those things. Okay, yes. So, thank you for having me. I'm so excited and so honored to be your 9th guest on the show. So,
well, we're happy to have you, and today is the big election day.
Yeah. Oh yeah, so I'm excited to be able to give people something else to think about. Instead of biting our nails down. So yeah, big election day. I'm so glad it's finally here. I think you were saying no more ads. I'm done with the ads.
Yeah, if anything, we got to be excited about no more ads. That's for sure. And the other thing we need to be excited about is what is going to be happening with the future of the hospitality world. Because as you know, being in the industry as well, we're pretty much on a hold, a dead standstill, yeah. especially for the meetings and events industry. And I know the recovery period is going to take years. I mean, they're already predicting 5 years, and because we haven't even seen the repercussions of this, right?
Yeah, I know. That's what's so scary. And it's I just read something, I want to say it was even this morning, the STAR report. Everybody in hotels always follows the STAR report. Right. And I was happy to see, so when COVID first hit in February, March, April, it was all negative profit, negative gross operating profit. I mean, that is just unheard of. And it didn't actually turn around until July. So July was finally the first month that it was positive, and we've been kind of growing steadily. It's still in the single digit numbers, which, is still so small for operating profit for hotels. And there are still some hotels that are operating at a loss right now.
Yeah. I know the leisure and the business travelers are keeping some doors open, but for the meetings and events industry, we're just at a standstill. And I know there's some creativity going on out there, like the hybrids, which have been around for years, and that kind of thing. But there's definitely some things that we really need to pay attention to, and one of them, as you've been following as well, are the safety protocol. I mean, I just can't understand watching some of these conferences that have been taking place and especially on social media, seeing that the safety protocols, I mean, they actually don't mean a damn thing if people don't respect them, right?
Exactly.
And already we saw it at the Connect conference recently in Orlando. 3 cases have been developed. We don't even know if that was at the conference or not, but just the reporting of it. You've got the CBB in the DC area. They're not following the safety protocols. I mean, really, Tanya, what is it going to take for people to understand how serious following the safety protocols is helping us to get the industry back?
Yeah. Well, the thing is everybody, well, not everybody, most people in the hospitality industry were, extroverts, right? We want to hug. We want to, we want to say, oh, so good to see you, or I haven't seen you since last year. And, so we're all, physical touch people. So to say we have to stay 6 feet apart is really hard for us, And so I think it's great. I know a lot of meeting planners are taking all these precautions, but it's only good if people follow it, And I kind of laugh, like, you go to a restaurant and it requires a mask, and you require a mask to get in. But once you sit down, you can take off your mask and it's fine. So, I'm sure I didn't go to Connect, but I'm sure they weren't having happy hours at the bar 6 feet apart. I'm sure happy hour time was all about, what we like to do is socialize and drink and have fun. And, so it's one of those things, okay, this might not be an appropriate way to start off a conversation, but it's like having a peeing section in a pool, Right. It's really, you can't, it's like, if not everybody's going to follow it. So it's so hard because we all want to get out there. We all want to be having meetings. I have a client right now, and she might be watching, but she is so excited to be meeting in person in February. Like, she really wants this to happen, and we all just miss meeting, but if we can't meet safely, it's only going to prolong when our recovery starts, right? So it's just, it's hard.
Do you think that magic solution is for everybody to follow it, or is there something else the industry can do? I mean, we're sitting still with our hands, underneath our butt.
Yeah.
What else can we do? We've got to think innovation. We've got to take risks. We got to strategize.
Yeah. Yeah. And, we have to do something because like we're both part of that hospitality Facebook page, right? There's over 56,000 people on that page, and it's mostly hoteliers. I don't know if you've kind of picked up that vibe, but it's mostly our hotel partners that are on that page. And when that first started, my friend Sarissa, actually, she might even be watching today. She started that. She's one of the founders of that Facebook page. And she sent me the request to join. I was like, oh, this would be neat. And there was 2,000 people. And I was like, whoa, 2,000 people. And now it's over 56,000. But in the beginning, it was all people just posting, I got furloughed. And then it was like, I got laid off. And then now it's kind of starting to be, they called me back. So and then there's, well, no, I got this. So it's this up and down. And I wish I had the answer. I wish I could say, let's just do 100% virtual. But that, I think, like Ralph was saying, on your last episode, you can't just take what you've been doing and switch it to virtual, because you have to get FOMO in there, that fear of missing out, that excitement. You have to make your virtual event. You have to hire a producer to produce, so it's like, you've got to really put on a show to get people to pay attention. And I just think that there's just, I don't know. I wish I had the answer, because obviously my business, Meetings Together, is not making any money, because I only make money when people are having meetings, but I also don't want to jump the gun and go back before it's safe to go back. So I don't know. Your guess is as good as mine, and I wish I had the magic pill because it breaks my heart to see all these great people that have been in the industry so long, decades. I've been in hospitality 24 years. That's a long time to be in this industry. And I love this industry, and I'm not making money, but I'm still in it because it's all I would do. It's my passion. These are my people. Hospitality people are my people. And that's what, that's what you have to find. You have to find your people and go with it, so.
Yeah. And you've been in the industry a long time. I mean,
I know.
13 years, you've been, a third party planner as well. As a matter of fact, you even created meetings together. Talk about your background. Talk about how did meetings together even come about?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So I started in the hotel industry in the early or mid 90s, right out of high school, as a PBX operator. I don't even know, like, people, if they still call it PBX. I don't know, but it's answering the phones when you call into the hotel. So I started as a PBX operator, and then I moved to different departments. I was in reservations, I was in front desk, I was in sales, and kind of moved my way up. And then I moved to San Diego, and then that's where I met my husband, and we still in hotels. So hotels 13 years. And then moved over to the planning side in 2009 when I was living in Texas. So I started working for Helms Briscoe, and Helms Briscoe is the largest third-party planning company. So there are over 1,200 associates, and it's 100% only commission. So you really have to love the event industry and really believe in yourself that you can build this business. So I started with Helms Briscoe, and then I was with them for 10 years. And then in 2018, when Marriott turned the whole world upside down by cutting commissions from 10% to 7%, it rocked my world. And I know next week you have David Bruce on, who's the independent, probably talking about independent planners. So I won't go into that. But I decided, you know what? As much as I was part of something awesome, it wasn't mine. So I was like, I need to become an independent planner. I need to figure out what I'm going to do. Because if they're going to cut my commission, the only way I'm getting paid by 30%, and I have no control over that. So I'm like, okay, well, I'm not leaving this industry because, as I said earlier, you're my people, But so I wanted to be an independent planner, because when things change, like tragedy and all this, you have to adjust and adapt. I know everybody says pivot, and I don't want to say pivot. The only time I say pivot is when I'm talking about Ross from Friends, right? Pivot. And normally I have my pivot bracelet on. But anyways, so I thought, I'm going to start meetings together. I'm going to start my own company to where I'm still in the industry, but I'm in charge of my destiny. So I will still do site selection, but I'll also focus more on helping my clients with registration, helping with online developing websites. I've always wanted to help people become certified meeting professionals. I'll do that. So in 2019, I started Meetings Together. So it was my own company. I'm a solopreneur. And then, so all during 2019, that's when I started working on developing Pathway to Passing. And what that is, so I launched that in 2020. It's like the positive thing that came out of 2020 is I launched my digital course to help people in our industry, hoteliers, meeting planners, anybody who wants to become a certified meeting professional. I built this digital for them as a tool to go through and really go through the steps of learning how to become a certified meeting professional. So yeah, so luckily it was a digital thing.
I mean, talk about that.
Yeah. So we'll talk about that. But yeah, so that's why I really, just started my own company so I could be in control of my destiny, right? And that's what I really want to offer to people today that are in the hospitality industry, that are getting laid off, that aren't, that are, being furloughed, is that you really have to just turn it inward and focus on, like, what is the one thing I can do? What do I have control over? When this first all happened, I am a positive person by nature. Like, anybody who knows me always knows I'm a glass half full, Well, actually, I like to say, let's not argue about half full or half empty. Let's just go to the bar and get another drink. Let's not argue about half full.
What's happened to you here is what I call the business of reality. That's where we're at. We're not in the business of the meetings and events industry. We're not in the business of being, a virtual world. We're in the business of reality right now.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I believe what you had done is incredible, because
Thank
you
you.
actually took what turned out to be a very negative time in our life, which I can't
Yeah.
believe it's going to be a year in December when this whole COVID thing started. And
Yeah.
you really turned your business around. And you started what, meetings together in 2016, something like that?
Well, yeah, 2019. Yeah, so just 2019.
That's just like your new baby, and all
Yeah.
of a sudden it's growing up to be ugly or something. You know,
Yeah,
it's just like
totally.
an ugly baby. And you turned it around
Yeah.
into this remarkable. Let's talk about this certification, because I don't know anyone other than the EIC that has really taken a handle on this, and you are. First of all, you have two certifications, and
Yeah.
you obviously think certifications are the way to go in this industry. The first one is the CASE. Can you tell us what that means, why you even got this?
Yeah, so that stands for Certified Association Sales Executive. And that's like the little baby step before the CMP. So it goes through all of the CMP domains, but not on as high of a scale. So I did that first. I've always wanted to be a CMP, but I was so afraid that I wasn't going to pass the exam, because I'd been out of school so long, I don't like to study, it's just, I never give myself enough credit for being smart enough. And so I had all these beliefs that, I would never pass that. And like you hear of smart people that fail the exam. And so it was very scary to me. So I'm like, I'll just start small with the case. And that was a lot of work and a lot of effort. And I've actually had some people tell me that that's even more work than the CMP, which is funny. But anyway, so then I was like, yeah. And then Pat Zolman with Helms Briscoe, she was really the one who really championed for me to go after my CMP. And so
mentors for those types of things. So that's good. That's good to know. I've seen the certification around, but I did not know much about it. So that makes a lot of sense. And you're right. And when it comes to studying for a test later in life, I'm totally with you on it. Thank God I took my CMP 20 years ago. I don't know if I could take the test today, but let's talk about the CMP, the Certified Meeting Professional. I mean, this really is close to my heart. The CMP. As a matter of fact, as a professional speaker, clients rank CMP really, really well. So it's all good. And even being involved with the CMP back in 2010, I believe, I was actually hired by my university where I went to school, Arizona State University, and the Metropolitan Tourism Research Center. Actually was sponsored by, back then, Wyndham Hotels and the MPI Foundation to come up with the MPI CMP online study guide. So it was really a great project for me to be involved with the university and MPI and Wyndham as well, because I was able to become the creator, the trainer. I was able to put a task force together. I became even the voiceover for the online process. And it was really interesting to see that created for our industry, and loved every part of it. So my question for you is, how did you get involved with it? What sparked you to have that as your main, I guess, gravy for together?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it was my doubt. And as I was going through that and going through the process of studying, I joined my MPI and on Saturdays, and we would meet every 4 hours and did that local. But sometimes I would miss I'd miss a session, and then I would feel left behind, and then I'd have those doubts come in. Oh, I'm not good enough. I'm not smart enough. And so I vowed that if I actually passed the exam, that I would develop something for other people who were feeling the same doubt, and that would have a study tool for them to be able to go through it and know that what they were studying was the right information, and they were, like testing themselves along the way to give themselves that proof and evidence, like, okay, I just passed this quiz. Okay, I'm doing good. I've got it. Okay, maybe I got an 80 okay, I got it. Maybe I got a 50. Oh my gosh, I need to study this a little bit more. So I wanted to create something that was online, and this actually worked out for me that it's a digital course, but I wanted people to not feel alone in the process and have somebody in their corner, like cheering them on as a resource to be able to reach out to, like, hey, I'm not really finding, I don't really understand this, or things like that. Like to have a resource, to have like a go-to, to have a buddy, so I was like, I'm going to develop something so other people don't have to feel like they're not good enough. So it's ever evolving. Like, so I created it. It took me almost a year to create the PowerPoints, to record the PowerPoints, to, do all of the graphics. It's a year in the making. And as people are taking it and going through it, they're saying, oh, I wish you could do this. And so I'm like, you know what? That's a great idea. So I've done that and I've adjusted. And at first it was like, oh my gosh, I thought I did this whole year's work of work, and what do you mean? But it's like other people, they have their ideas, and just getting more ideas and listening and really being able to take what other people and then turn it into an additional part of the course or things like that. So it's been awesome. I've had so much great feedback. I'm just, and thank you. And like the feedback, like all of it has been positive. And even those, and if you know me, I can't spell, and my grammar is so I've had people like go through it and find corrections, and I still, even to this day, I've paid people to go through my course to find all those mistakes, and I still get emails from students, oh, you spelled this wrong, oh my gosh, and well, a lot of that is because the EIC, they spell like organizer different than organizer, and because it's an international book and all that. But anyway,
I like the modules that you have listed on your website. Like you added a few, and the pathway to passing was brilliant as well. And I know you're also doing a boot camp, which I think is really cool. What else, or what do they get by learning from you above and beyond that?
Yeah. So the boot camp actually came because I have this large course, which it's designed to go through in about 10 to 16 weeks, depending on how much time you have to commit to it. But my whole thing is you want to break things down into small, manageable pieces on like what you can focus on, kind of, like take the tiniest thing. What can I do today? And so I broke down all the videos by skill, and there's about 30 skills in the book. So I give you one video, one PowerPoint on each skill. And so it's a pretty large course. Well, there are people that would find me on the internet and say, I've already been studying, I'm going to take my exam next week, what do you have for me? And I'm like, I don't. So I created Expressway to Passing, which is taking my giant course of Pathway, and I kind of cut it down and put in like the best of the best in Expressway, so people can now take it in a 7-week course. It's so much information. Like when you're studying for this exam, it's not something that you can just pass without studying. You have to study and you have to commit to it, and like I say in my webinars, I can give you the keys to the shiny red sports car. I can tell you everything you have to do, but you actually have to be the one that turns the key and starts driving. Like I can give you it all, but you have to be the one that does it. So I try to, give some inspiration, some motivational emails to the people that sign up and kind of help them along the process. And my PowerPoints are a little bit silly and childlike, but that's how we learn best. So I did a lot of research on adult learning, and we actually, learn when things are funny and when we can remember things that way. So so that's how Expressway to Passing came about, and it's ever evolving. Like I have a student that she's like, oh, I love the new redesign of this and that, and I'm like, yeah, it's changing. It's always changing, So
well, that's a good thing. That's a good thing, and it looks like you have a great testimonial from Melissa that's in your course right now. Yeah, and Rachel and Samantha are on the line as well, and they're all wishing Melissa good luck, and I think that is really, really cool. So thank you, Melissa and Rachel and even Samantha, for being here with us today.
Oh my God. Thank you guys.
Yeah, definitely. And so also, I do have a question also from a viewer right now that I think is very prominent for what we're talking about here. And it's from Lynn Wellish, and she says, what platform is this on? Where can people go to get this information?
Yeah, it's Kajabi, which is another platform that I love. It's Kajabi, and I do all of because I'm a solopreneur, I do all of my own stuff. So my website, I'm the web designer, I'm your advertising, I'm marketing, so I'm everything. So Kajabi is amazing, and I have a partner link that I can send to anybody that wants it, and we'll get you a 28-day free trial. And which normally I think they only offer like a week or two, but it's amazing. And everybody that I've referred to Kajabi has signed up and loved it. So you can do your own website, and it houses your course on there. So yeah, so Kajabi, I love it. And reach out to me, and I'll send you my partner link so you can get a
and we'll do some information before the end of the show as well. Well, anyone that's joining us right now, we are actually here with Tanya Roof, CMP, CASE. Thank you so much for joining us. Again, if you just dropped on here, and if you have any questions or any other comments, we're open right now. We'd love to hear from you. But now what I want to do, Tanya, is I want to kind of switch gears this second portion of our show and talk about mainly the women in the hospitality industry. We know women are the dominant. There's no doubt. It fits our personality. It fits our multitasking abilities. I mean, there's our brilliancy and everything like that. And I know you're a big advocate for women in the industry too. Can you talk about, your entrepreneurship and maybe how other women can follow your lead too?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, when I did a webinar for my course, I created the 3 pillars to CMP success. And I think those 3 pillars apply to becoming an entrepreneur and pretty much anything. And it's C is confidence, M, map out a plan, and P, you have to promise to stay the course. So CMP. And doing that will help you also remember. So that's just a little memory trick. If you can kind of attach associations to things you already know, it helps you remember. So starting with confidence, if you want to become an entrepreneur or you want to start your own business, like, okay, this all sounds great, I've got it, but what do I do? You have to be confident. And I know people are like, oh, I'm out, I'm not confident, Well, confidence is actually a skill, and like any skill, you're only going to get better at it the more you do it. So you have to kind of build the skill of confidence. So you have to be confident that you can do it. Map out a plan. You can't just be like, I'm going to start a business. You've got to figure out, okay, what am I going to start with? What's the one small thing I can start with? And then figure out a plan and take it one small step at a time. And don't let those like negative beliefs come in. Oh, I don't know how to do a website. I can't do that. Well, you have to tell yourself, I'm not going to settle for, I don't know. I'll figure it out. So map out your plan and then promise to stay the path. So there's days where I would only work for like an hour a day because I would get frustrated, or, I wasn't producing anything. So I was like, I have to stop. But tomorrow I picked right back up. So I'll have some students that have signed up, have gone through, and then kind of stopped. And every once in a while, I'll reach out after it's been a certain amount of time and be like, hey, how's it going? What can I help you with? And it's like, well, this came up and this came up. And that's totally fine, because that's one of the beauties of having the digital courses. It's here for you when you need it. But you also have to promise to keep going, because there's some days that you're not going to feel like studying. There's some days you're not going to feel like learning how to create a business, but you have to do it anyway. And that's the hardest part, I think, is doing things that you don't feel like doing and just doing it anyway. So having confidence to know that anybody can start a business, mapping out a plan. Don't just willy-nilly wing it. Figure out, okay, how am I going to do this? And if I don't know how to build a website, who do I know that might know how to build a website, and then go from there. Don't just give your brain the block of, oh, I don't know how to do it, I'm out, and then promise to stay the course. Just because, I don't get up and be like, I love meetings together every day. No, it's like I wake up and some days I'm like, oh, I have this great idea to do this. And I spend like 4 hours on it, like I'm in a flow. And then some days I'm just not in it. So those days I'm just not in it, I don't do it. And like I tell my students, like, if they're not in it, then don't try to study if you're not in it. You have to like be in the flow and in the zone. So yeah, so those are my.
And that's hard for us planners. I mean, we plan ahead of what we want to do. And when something doesn't turn out, even if it's something that we just can't promise ourselves to stay on the course because we've got distractions, we've got other things that pop up, and that's hard for a planner like ourselves. I mean, we want to stay that course. Yeah. When there's an interruption, our whole day turns upside down sometimes.
Yep. Well, that's for sure. Yes. Yeah.
And as far as the confidence, I love the confidence one because that is so difficult. I love the fact that it can be a skill, learning skill. And I think to get there, even before there, sometimes we have to talk to ourselves.
Yes.
I mean, I talk to myself not only in my head, because too many times my heart leads before my head, but also to verbally talk and say, okay, come on, Deborah, this is the day. This is the day that's going to be the best show or the best, stage presence of my program, or you almost have to like talk out loud, and so you can hear those affirmations, right?
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. And it's not, and like, if you can't, like, you don't have to be like, oh, I'm amazing, but you can start small with, I'm open to believing that I am good enough to do this. Or, it might be true also that, I don't know the exact number of how many thoughts we have a day, but it's in the like 60,000 thoughts. And not all of them are going to be positive, and not all of them are true. So it's really just developing the habit of focusing and being intentional and deciding, am I going to believe this thought? And like I say, like people will say, oh, I'm a bad test taker. Well, stop telling yourself that. Don't tell yourself that you're a bad test taker. Don't let that run on replay, and you don't have to go from I'm a bad test taker to I'm going to pass my CMP without even studying, like you have to start saying, okay, I'm open to believing, or it could be possible that, starting small, like these laddering thoughts of getting you from where you are to where you want to be. You can't just jump. You got to build the bridge from where you are to where you want to be. And, and that it's just.
Well, let me ask you this. I totally believe what you're saying. I'm going to ask you a very difficult question, because this is something that has been the big elephant in the room, especially in the meetings and events industry, and of course, all the hospitality industry, and with as many women that are in the industry, diversity-wise.
Yeah.
Why are there not women more in the leadership positions in the hospitality industry?
Yeah, exactly. Yes, you're preaching to the choir, and that's the thing, is like there's so many women in our industry, like going through the hotels. Like when I think back when I was in hotels, it was women DOSs, women, there were mostly men GMs, but mostly women DOSs, except for a couple. I had really two amazing ones. Shout out to TJ and Quentin Roberts. But but most of my DOSs were women, and all of the sales managers, except a few, were women. So I don't know why there aren't more women at the top. Deborah, I think you need to be you've been in the industry a really long time. I mean, you're the what they call you, the pit bull in a skirt. What was that?
Yeah, that's what I've been told. Sometimes that gets me in trouble.
Yeah, and that's the thing, is I don't know. I wish I knew why there weren't more. That's why I love that Amy is with the EIC. She is a female in a leadership role, But yeah, I think there definitely need to be more women in leadership roles,
Right. I do too. Yeah, I do too. And you're a prime example of that with your explanation. Not only that you have put yourself into action as a woman entrepreneur in the industry, but I love those 3 points. The confidence has to be there, mapping the plan, and promising to stay the course and not be disrupted by other people's needs or other people's, wants from you. It's women really, this is the time. Women have been followers in this industry for a long time. It is now time to be a leader and really step up to the plate and say, this is what I deserve, because there's a lot of brilliancy out there. I love this. I love this from Miss Caruso. I believe you know. Tanya, you are my people. I love that.
Oh, I love it. Thank you. Yes. And that's one of my positives. I don't know if we want to go into the positives now, but yes, really when you're thinking positive, you have to just find your people, and I'm just going to say, I just see Janice up here. Okay. I put out an email to my students and then said, I'm nervous about being on a live show. If you are available to show up and be there, then, here's the thing, log in. And I'm just so like seeing all these people, my students that are here just supporting, it's amazing. So again, see, women supporting women is just, okay.
Yeah, you've got Lane here as well. I mean, you've got a great following. They just keep coming in. I can't seem to keep up with this. I need to get my back.
Women supporting other women, and I just think that we need to, like, when I've done a lot of work on personal development, and I really only try to follow women. In like Marie Forleo, she's like an idol of mine, and so I try to follow women that inspire me and really. And I'm not saying I'm just following women because I love like Simon Sinek and he's a man. And so, I'm just not being like, oh, I only follow women or I only do this, but we have to support other women. And I feel like that's not in our industry. There are so many women in our industry, but not at the top level. And I just don't understand that. So I really hope that, that is in this change, that continues to change too. So.
Right. Exactly. And I think it has a lot to do with, like Lisa, my girlfriend Lisa, I say this all the time, meeting professionals, not planners. And I think Lisa, you caught me on saying planner too much, but it even has to do with that. When I was talking about to ourselves, this is a prime example right here. We're not meeting planners, we're meeting professionals. Yeah. And we might as well say we are meeting leaders. We need to really step up the plate and really talk to ourselves and tell people who exactly we are. And then the confidence will build. You'll see that the map of planning what you want in this industry will come to fruition. And then promising it to yourself, like, staying on the course will become a lot easier, definitely. Yeah. So let's move on to, the question that I know we really need to also tackle is that this has been a challenging time. There's no doubt about it. So as women entrepreneurs, being more positive, can you give us some tips, maybe 3 tips that we as women in the industry can really hone in on and practice, and again, continue to talk to ourselves about, and maybe just a couple of those. Can you share those with us?
I've got an acronym for you, right? So CMP, again.
Oh, yeah.
So we're going to, number one, staying positive is community. You have to find your people. And I've kind of said that already a few times, but it's been said that you're the combination, right, of the 5 people that you spend the most time with. So when you're out there looking for your people, well, even before you go look for your people, think about who you're hanging out with now. Who are the 5 people that you spend the most time with? And of those people, do they emulate what you want to be? Or, are they, because we've all been around that Debbie Downer friend, that's always complaining, or always, do you hang out with them? Are they in your head too much? Like before, when I was nervous for this, getting ready for this, I wasn't really checking emails. Like I was just listening to like positive things and filling my head with stuff that I wanted to hear. And I think that if you can be intentional about what you're consuming and the people that you're around, it will help set your mood. Like yesterday, my husband came in my office and he was like, you know, ho-hum, because he was reading all this political stuff. And so that set the course of his day because of what he was consuming. So if you can consume things that motivate you and inspire you, that's going to help move you forward. So find your community and unfollow. You don't have to unfriend people on Facebook, but unfollow them. If every time you see something that comes up, oh, so-and-so's bragging again about making millions, you know, unsubscribe for them or hide them, you know, only consume things that is going to be helpful for your heart and your head. I still struggle a lot with imposter syndrome. You know, I say, oh, well, look how far that person's come. And oh my gosh, look at all they're doing. And, you know, and you just have to like recenter yourself and come back to focusing on, you know, what you're consuming. And so find your people, find your support group. Like clearly I have mine. All my girls showed up for me today. So, you know, and find the people that are going to move you forward. So that's my C. I think I've spent a lot of time on community and your people. So and sometimes, you know, your community is really, like I said, it's going to set the tone. Okay, so I want to move on to M, which is morning routine, which is kind of something I haven't talked about at all. But morning routine is so important, and I've learned that in my professional development is that, and all the greatest leaders have a morning routine. So this isn't, you know, something, ooh, hot off the press, Tanya saying, get a morning routine. Everybody who is a high performer has a morning routine. And I think if you can start your day and end your day with gratitude, that's the best routine. But you can Google it. You can find out Jeff Bezos' morning routine. You can go and put anybody's morning routine into YouTube and find out what people are doing. But how I start my day with gratitude and I end my day with gratitude. And, you know, I've heard some people say, you know, be grateful for all the small things, because then your brain is triggered to look for small things. Well, I also heard somebody say, and then I would do that, but then sometimes I wouldn't. And then I heard somebody say, be grateful for what you have today. And if you aren't grateful for them, they won't be there tomorrow. So I go, oh my gosh, if I didn't say I was grateful for my family, I would wake up and not have them there tomorrow. So that was the one thing for me that made me go, oh my gosh, I'm starting every day with being grateful and ending every day with being grateful. And all the stuff in between. You know, like I said, I did a lot of like brain research, and it's really just about developing the habit. And then when you develop a habit with something, then you just keep doing it. It's like going to the gym. Okay, I'm not going to go to the gym once for 4 hours and lose 50 pounds, you know, but going to the gym 20 minutes every day, well, maybe more than 20 minutes, but even just a little bit every day to help move you forward. So our brains love a clean environment. And so when I get up, I do gratitude. I make sure my bed's made. If my husband hasn't made our bed, then I make my bed. Then you brush your teeth. And as I'm brushing my teeth, I always ask myself, how am I going to add value today? Like, that's my question. And our brains like to answer questions. So if you ask yourself, how am I going to add value today? That's when then our brain is going to go to looking for things to help add value. So your question can be, you know, how can I make today easier? Or how can I find a job today? You know, or whatever you ask your question, then your brain goes to work on proving that question or answering that question. So, so gratitude, brush your teeth and ask your question, make your bed, and then make sure your environment's clean. So I make sure my desk is all clean and organized before I get piles and piles on it. So, and then at the end of the day, again, gratitude, and then reviewing your day. Like, okay, what happened today? What was good? But yeah, so morning routines, you can Google a whole bunch of them, but find what works for you and start small, okay? And remember, what's the one thing? So if you could just do one thing for your morning routine starting tomorrow, what would it be? So tomorrow, I challenge you, if you don't have a morning routine, sit down and say, okay, I'm gonna start a morning routine. the first thing I'm going to do is start with gratitude and then go from there. And then I like to sandwich my gratitude. So, but anyway, so develop your own, and don't go big, don't go crazy. Don't be like, I need to do this, and this, because then it won't get done. And then you're going to feel like a failure and you'll be like, Tanya, she doesn't know what she's talking about, you know? So start small, start with a morning routine, gratitude. So, and then last thing is perspective. So CMP, we have community, morning routine, and perspective. So perspective, the definition is an attitude or your point of view. So how do you want to feel? So, you know, you can't blame your circumstances. We can't blame COVID for what's going on right now. Like, so for instance, like COVID is our circumstance, okay? And you can't, a circumstance is something that is out of your control and there's no opinions attached to it, and there's no emotion attached to it, okay? So COVID is our circumstance. Well, to somebody who just lost their job, they're reacting to COVID like COVID is the worst thing possible. And yes, right now it's an awful time. But I don't know if you saw a couple episodes back, Joseph Lara on, I think, episode 2, COVID happening for him and his business was a godsend. I mean, he's pivoted and really focused on, you know, changing his whole company. It's happened with me too. Like, yes, COVID is an awful thing for everybody. I haven't lost anybody personally. But still, like it helped me to, okay, change my perspective again, like shift my, like, okay, what am I going to do now? Like, I'm not going to be a victim to COVID. You know, I'm not going to be like, well, COVID happened. I'm going to have to end meetings together because nobody's planning meetings anymore. You know, so you have to really get clarity on what matters most to you and just taking it one day at a time, thinking about what makes you the most happiest and just do a whole lot of that. So really get perspective. And so, yeah, so community. So really staying positive is your community, surrounding yourself with your people, finding your people, and building your circle of 5 and being intentional and proactive on what you consume and who you hang around with. And then get that morning routine out there, figure out what works best for you. Like, what do you want to change? You know, like, even if it's something small, like, what am I going to do? Just stacking a habit with another habit. That's why I said brush my teeth. Don't think I'm weird, but like, so if you habit stack, you already have a habit of getting up, making your bed, and brushing your teeth. So how can you habit stack? How can you add on to something that you're already doing with that? So if you want to learn Spanish, okay, so you pick out one word to learn. Hola, okay, so I'm learning Spanish, hola, so as I'm brushing my teeth, I learn, oh, hola, okay, this is how you say hello in Spanish. So like you're attaching it to something you already know. And then perspective, really just knowing that, you know, right now is the COVID is just a circumstance. So try not to, and I still do the same thing. It's like an intentional thing. Try not to blame COVID for all of the stuff that's going on right now, and really just try and get perspective and really like, okay, I'm safe. I am healthy, you know, and today is just another day. And what can I do today? Like I say, how can I add value today? And so hopefully somebody that is watching this will be like, you know what, I can start my own business, or you know what, I'm open to believing that maybe I could start my own business. And you know, maybe I'll sit down and make a list of, since I got laid off from my job, what are other things that I love and that always brings me joy when I do this, you know?
And sometimes, you know, I love those 3 CMP tips, but sometimes also you have to get rid of things to make room for these type of tips. I know for me, I know when I brush my teeth every morning, but then I handed it over to my husband to make the bed. So I don't do the bed anymore. So sometimes you have to make room to clean your closet out, to bring new perspectives in, new morning routines in, and new community and relationships in too. So it's not a matter of just taking on everything. It's also about balancing, trying to, you know, strategize your personal life and your professional life at the same time. Very good tips. Thank you very much. Well, as we're wrapping up here, I wanted to ask you one more question.
Yeah.
this is probably a tough one too, but I know you can handle it. Is what is the one piece of advice, whether it's personally or professionally? I'm talking about advice as opposed to a tip. An advice that you can give to each and every person in the hospitality industry, whether they're suppliers, whether they're professionals, whether they're working in the back of the house, the front of the house, the side of the house, wherever that might be. Is there something that you would like to say to help us wrap up today's show?
Well, when you first said that, what popped in my head is make the most important thing your most important thing. So if right now focusing on your family, if your family is your most important thing, then go all in on your family. If finding a new job is your most important thing, go all in on that. I just think I love that. Make your most important thing your most important thing, and if what we focus on and give our time and our energy to needs to really be our most important thing. So don't wake up and just go doing what you've always been doing. Really think about okay, what's the most important thing to me? And if you still have a job at a hotel, or if you still have a job as a planner, or even as the bellman, what today is my most important thing? Again, how can I add value, and what am I going to focus on? Because what you focus on is where your energy flows, and and so, yeah, I just hang in there. I hope that people in our industry can weather this storm. And how can you change? So if you're not, making money right now, how can you make money? So you can stay in the industry. If you have to go from being the DOS to a sales manager, swallow your pride on that. Is the most important thing your title, or is the most important thing bringing home a paycheck? So you got to focus. Yeah. So focus on your most important thing, and yeah, I mean, I think that our industry, I know we've kind of talked a lot about just believing in yourself, is really what I really wanted to get out of today, was that no matter where everybody is in their journey, like you said, the bellman to the CEO, who's mostly a man, okay, so to the bellman or the CEO, what can you do today to contribute to our industry, right? That we love so much, because if there are so many people that have been in this industry so long and they're affected by this. So what can you do to help better the industry? And what can you offer without expecting anything in return? I think that's also a key thing too. So make your most important thing your most important thing. So,
well, as large as our industry is, it's small. Things do come back around. So it's important to do your best and provide the best, because it will come back around to you. There's no doubt about it. Well, that was great advice. I love, make the most important thing your most important thing. I love that, definitely. And being very gratifying and providing gratitude in this industry at the same time, because it will come back. It's just going to come back different. And that's the thing. We needed this. We needed something new and different, definitely. So Tanya, how can everybody get a hold of you? Because I'm sure people will want to not only, sign up for your CMP classes and everything, but to get to know you. And I mean, meetings together says it all, because that's where we're at. But we want definitely, people to get in touch with you.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. So if you want to, there's Tanya at meetingstogether.com or CMP at meetingstogether.com. And then my website for the courses, if you're interested in becoming a CMP, go to www.meetingstogether.com/HTL. So I know that you watched this episode and made it to the end. And if you sign up through that link, you'll get a special treat. I'm not going to tell you what it is, but you'll get a special treat if you go through that link. I'm not saying it today. I gotta leave a little suspense,
We're hanging by threads here to see who's going to become our next president, right? I mean, it's just.
I know. Yes.
everyone
Yes,
we voted for, we're on pins and needles, and you're adding to this.
yes, right. I know. But let's remember that whoever is, it's just a circumstance, right? So
Right.
people are going to react differently. It's a circumstance, whoever the next president is. So you need to focus your thoughts on, okay, how am I going to, hopefully everybody acts with kindness, whether their candidate won or not, that they react with kindness and just, you know,
Well, we might as well just treat it like a Super Bowl. Everybody get the chips and dip and beer out,
right?
and wins
Yeah.
this final game, no doubt. But yeah, this is great. And I'm sure people can connect with you on social media as well.
Absolutely. I've got a
all over the
YouTube
place.
channel. I'm all over the place. I may not post as much as I want because, again, I'm my marketing person. So I may not post online as much as I want, but I have a Facebook. I have a Instagram. My YouTube channel is actually really good for people who are interested in the CMP course because I have, I started in July, kind of like a let's all get together because, you know, I'm all about community. Let's study and do the CMP exam together. And so, yeah, so there's a little mini course on there. And, but yeah, so I'm so excited that I got to be on your show today. I was worried that this hour that I wasn't going to be able to fill an hour. And I was like, oh my gosh, there's so many more things I want to say.
We can keep on talking. And you know, the funny thing is, you're right here in Arizona. So the next time we get together, we'll have to get together for a glass of wine or something. Can't believe we haven't met yet, but that's what's again so great about the hospitality industry. There's always somebody new to meet, and it's been an absolute pleasure to have you on the show. You definitely give us a whole wealth of information to definitely chow on, and I look forward to meeting you, and much success to your definitely to meeting together, because it's a brilliant business.
Thank you, Deborah. Yes, I love being an independent planner, and I'm definitely going to tune in next week when David Bruce is on, and I can't wait for that episode. So thank you for doing this. And see, like, this is you saying, how can I add value? How can I, you know, come into the industry with something new? And I applaud you for doing that, because this is your baby. This is your, you know. So, and I'm just so glad that. Yeah, exactly. No stretch marks. I'm just glad you have this big platform to where, you know, you can get out there and help. I'm sure the people, if not my episode, your other episodes of helping people in our industry stay positive and stay focused, and, you know, and talking from, you know, different levels. And so thank you so much for letting me be on your show and crashing the show.
Absolutely. It was a pleasure. Definitely. Thank you so much.
All of my groupies and all my girls that showed up for me today. So thank you so much. Yes, thank you. Mwah, mwah, mwah.
What a ball of fire. I really enjoyed Tanya today. This is great. Thank you also for joining us on this show. I love talking with Tanya, the CMP, CASE, and the founder and creator of Meetings Together. And if you would like to see this show again, and especially the three tips that she gave you regarding community, morning routine, and perspective, you can hear it all again right here on Hospitality Today Live. So please join us again, either on YouTube or the Facebook page. And if you have any questions, or if you want to be on the show, or know somebody that wants to be on the show, or even sponsor a show like Visibly Media did today, by all means contact us at hello@hospitalitytodaylive. And if anything, join our community, especially to know more about the upcoming shows and resources that we'll be providing. So on our next show, as a matter of fact, we will have David Bruce. David Bruce is the founder and creator for Independent Planners Association. And we should be in our new studio with David at that time. But David will be discussing his 45 years in the industry and the challenges that he has faced and dealt with as well, along with the importance of relationships and his raw perspective on the future of meetings and events. So don't miss next Tuesday's show and conversation with David Bruce right here on Hospitality Today Live. I'm Deborah Gardner. Thank you so much for joining me. I so appreciate my hospitality peeps here joining us here on the #1 hospitality show. Have a productively and blessed day, and Also, make the best of the important things, the most important things to you as well. So have a great day, everybody.